minute. So last week, Hurricane Otis went from a tropical storm to a size 5 hurricane overnight. 48 people to date died. Last week, a man walked into a bowling alley, killed 15, injured 50. These two events are not the same, and yet, in many ways, we're helpless to do anything about them. We feel helpless and hopeless. So I'm going to very quickly tell you the state of climate change. Okay, because climate change is quickly becoming irreversible and a life-draining crisis. So other things that are not supposed to be happening, along with hurricanes growing overnight. So flooding due to heavy rains in Ghana caused a major dam to overflow, causing 26,000 people, mostly women and children, to be displaced. Same thing, even to a greater extent, happened in Libya before that. Not only did Hawaii have devastating fires, but Canada, as we all know, especially on this side of the country, we breathe their smoke. One estimate put the number of trees burned, not acres, but trees burned, at 5 billion. 5 billion trees burnt up. That means the carbon from those trees went up into the air. And how many more now do we have to replant to capture that? That's how bad those fires from 1 year were. Last year, Georgia's peach crop failed. 90% of their peaches were not able to be harvested because of a warm winter. So not only did that affect and was devastating financially to these farmers, but in a normal year, for example, one farm would hire 80 seasonal farm workers from places like Guadalajara. This year they hired 30. That means 50 families did not get income from crops being picked in Georgia. That means 50 families back in Guadalajara did not have any way to support themselves, and many of them end up on our southern borders or our northern borders because it's a spiral that causes them to not be able to live in their country. In the summer of 2023, that was the hottest year on record since we've been keeping records in the 1880s. And 2023 will likely be the warmest year on record, surpassing all prior guesses on when that would happen. And our children and youth are feeling more and more frustrated by poor governmental response to the current climate crisis. Climate anxiety is a real thing. So there is some good news. There really is. So half the world is already cutting their fossil fuel generation. They're already moving towards green energy. They're like plateauing. They're already going to the side of green energy. Half the world's countries, most of them are small, but half the world's countries are moving in the right direction. And a recent report came out and said the easiest, most simple thing that families and individuals can do is cut their food waste. Just cut your food waste. It will quickly affect one report said that it's equivalent to all the air traffic that we have in a year if families can cut their food waste, because that waste goes in our dumps, it becomes methane, it goes up in the air, on and on and on. So not just here in America, but around the world, and not in North America. So the state of climate change is not good. The ugly truth is climate change is not going away. It is here, it is now, and people are dying, and creation is dying and will die in the future. So, what is NABF doing? So, NABF, Jennifer and I and others, NABF and BWA are going to work together this year. We are going to make a disaster preparedness guide for churches, specifically for pastors. This will include climate change that is area specific to help them with ideas how they can translate this into their part of the country. How a church in North Carolina is not the same as a church in Washington State, and what they can do and how they can help is different. So we're going to be working on that, not just climate change, but environmental justice issues, adaptability. James and I are going to work on that. Jeremy's going to help. So what do we need from you? We're going to be contacting each and every one of your groups, denominations, whoever you represent, and we need to find out some information from you. We need to find out what churches are already caring about the environment in any way. Who's put solar panels on their churches? Who is starting recycling centers? Who is doing heating centers in the winter or cooling centers in the summer? Who are the churches that already care? Because those are the ones that we want to engage first. And we don't know who they are. You know who they are. So we are going to be doing this. American Baptist and Cooperative Baptist Fellowship have already on board with this. They're already going to start doing this. So we're going to be working with the rest of you guys. We need to know this. And once we get those names, then we're going to ask those people to help us. And in the meantime, we're going to do whatever we can to get the information out. So we also need to know what you need us to do. You know, we're here, we have these ideas, but we don't know how we can help. Okay, so when you get an email that says NABF Creation Care, please respond. Thank you.
So the essential shift, friends, is from descriptive to prescriptive. Over 40% of the energy created in Texas and in Alberta is alternate energy. It's fantastic. And they are the highest oil producing jurisdictions in North America, and they are doing excellent work in this area. So again, our whole profiling, how we profile people culturally, is absurd and ridiculous. So our Texas friends, thank you very much. But George Buller told me that in this particular job, if I phoned people 4 times, I'd be lucky to get a response. And I thought I might add a digit to that. So when we call, we're just asking for partnership. We're really insisting on that dialogue. It's not skin off your nose. It's someone else that is responsible and responsive to this particular, whose heart is already there. It's not creating dots, it's connecting dots. So this day, just in this last few minutes, we have moved as a group from descriptive to prescriptive. Okay, thanks be to God. Oh, and CBM is very much involved, Jennifer Lau. Okay, so that's just great and encouraging stuff, and encouraging one another, buoying one another up. There's going to be some resources that are going to be on the web shortly that give you Catherine Hayhoe, saving us, one of our speakers last year, one of the best-selling engagers, Christian, Texas, born in Toronto.